All right, so we are last week or last class, we discussed the process of creating families, and we created a parametric bench, and we left the discussion on how we can create multiple family types based on a single design of a framework. Create a family that is fully parametrically, follows a series of steps that enable me to engineer the behavior of a framework. And then we infill the framework with geometry and associated geometry to parameters, material parameters. Then we create the material definitions inside the project environment. And that allows us to create a, a family definition with a collection of different types. Um, Today, I'm going to show you a bit about adaptive components. And an adaptive component is a family that whose shape is determined by pointing a host. In other words, it's like a rubber band. You have a rubber band and you try to um, you place a rubber band in a wall that has 3 or 4 nails. The shape of the rubber band, it's dependent on the location of the different nails in the wall. And so the position of it, imagine you had the ability to move the nails around, then the family deform and adjust its shape to the host to the hosting points. And the advantage of this is that you can generate many different shapes with a single family. And so an adaptive component family start by defining adaptive points, which act as these as the elements that pin the shape to a host. The final location of a host is driven by a grid, and that grid can be created using a grid subdivision. And so we're going to use this to create a trellis and also display the concept of nested families. And so in Revit, it's very common that when we create a family that is made of different elements, that each of those elements is a different family. For example, if I'm creating a base cabinet, the base body is a family, the doors is another family, the knobs is a different family, the shelves inside the cabinet is another family. And then we basically just collect all these components into a single family, and that creates the base cabinet. And so last class, I showed you the process of creating associations, which is the toggle that connects the parameter value of one parameter to another parameter. And that's what we do when we concatenate, when we create these connected assembles. For example, you can say the height of the door equals the height of the cabinet. And so we create this concatenation between the parameter height of the door and we associate it with the height of the cabinet. And whatever the height of the cabinet is, the height of the door follows. Or you can say the shelf width equals the base cabinet width. And whatever the cabinet width is, so the nested family also follows. And so the beauty of nesting families is this ability to connect the sizes using associations. And that helps expedite and simplify the process of creating complex family. Um, all right, so I'm gonna show you how how to create a organic trellis, and then we're going to apply subdivision in UMV and use the subdivision modules to apply a adaptive component family. And so I have in the files that you downloaded, there's a file called 4-point module. No, it is pyramid module. Go ahead and open it. Uh, this is an adaptive component surf adaptive component element. It is basically a is made of two families. A family that is called the adaptive 2-point pipe, and it has a sphere that snap at the very top. These adaptive component pipe is hosted by those four these adaptive points. So these things that look like stars, those are adaptive points, and they respond to parametrical changes. So you can increase or decrease the size of the spacing, uh, and notice how the family automatically adapts to the host condition. And so these represent a tile model, and this tile model is brought into a subdivided grid, and it's arrayed on top of the grid to create a organic trellis shape. Uh, Now, usually create this from scratch. It takes a lot of hours. So I already pre-cooked this for you, and I think my goal here is not that we became experts in adaptive components, but that we understand the concept behind it. So if you see an opportunity to use it in your day-to-day work, you know that it exists, right? Um, I'm going to very quickly create one from scratch, and you don't have to follow me because the steps are a lot, uh, but it's more like a demonstration. Then I'm gonna ask you to pick it up from here to the next step. Or if you are confident that you can follow along, do it by all means. Uh, so I'm going to start and create a new family, and I'm going to use the template called uh, generic model pattern based. And this is a special type of template that enabled me to uh, create adaptive components. And so this comes with 4 adaptive components. Adaptive components are when I was talking about the family behaving like a rubber band. So this is like a table that has four nails, and then they are connected by reference lines, and then I can host components here. And so what I'm gonna do this is bring another family, is a nested family, which is an adaptive pipe. I'm just gonna open it so you can look at it. Um, so this family called 2-point pipe, adaptive 2-point pipe. It's simply adaptive component with 2 points and the 2 points are connected by a reference line. And the reference line hosts a profile that is extruded along that line. And so the pipe follows the location of those points. So the points, um, the point are stretched, the pipe is stretched as well. The other thing I did here is embed a formula for the pipe radius. And what this means is that the radius is equals the pipe length divided by 24, right? So if this is and I even made it conditional, right? If the if the pipe has is shorter than a certain length, divided by 24. If it's larger than a certain length, divided by 48. And so you notice that when I pick the adaptive points and make it closer, then the radius of the pipe changes. So the radius is very different. It's different for every distance. And the reason I did that is because I don't know what the hole is going to be. So I needed I need to work with ratios in order to define what the optimal radius of the pipe need to be. So I created this family, 2 points connected by a line. The line hosts the diameter, and then the circle is extruded along the length, and then I added a parameter formula. I'm going to load this project. I'm going to load this family into the family I'm creating from scratch. And the family, it's looking for a host. The adaptive components act like magnets. They're trying to snap to a host adapted point. And so immediately, it snaps to this point, snap to this point, and remain active until you cancel. So I'm creating this frame, underlying frame, for the bottom of a pyramid. And then when I flex this, say I'm going to change this to 15. Notice how the frame changes, and so the different thickness. 12. I'm going to switch to wireframe because in wireframe I can actually access the location of the adaptive points. And then I'm going to create a line through points, a model line. And which is the third icon, split line through points. I'm going to create 2 diagonals. And the purpose of this diagonal is to find the middle point. So 2 points and escape. Again, this is the SP line through point. Escape, I created 2 model lines. And then I created a point that is hosted by the line. And then I select the point and tell the point that move to the intersection to this other line. So this point floating in the center of a module is hosted by the intersection of these 2 lines. And so if the line is, if I increase the size here, this is 15. Notice that the center point of this rectangle remain in place. no matter what the size of the module is. Uh, Again, I'm not expecting you to follow along. You're okay just watching. Uh, and then another thing I can do is this point can host other geometries. So I can use the point as a work plane. So I use the horizontal, I hit tab, the horizontal plane of the point as a working plane. And I create a point that is hosted by that work plane that is in the same space or Revit React, that two elements are in the same location. And then I'd increase the offset to a certain distance. I'm going to say -5 feet. And that raises the point above the point. So this point is hosted by a reference plane of this point. And wherever this point is, this point above moves. So when I change this, the ratio, notice how the points, I've called this the apex point or the vertice point, follows the location of this point as well. So I can do 18 and it doesn't matter. Whatever size this is, the apex point will follow. And so with that in mind, then I create a pyramid. So using the 2 point uh, 2 point adaptive pipe. I also snap to the adaptive points here. So I go from here to here, and then another one from here to the point. The adaptive points are giving me the framework that will host these pipes. And I made a mistake there. And now I have this parametric pyramid. Let's flex it. I'm going to make this 18 by 18. 12. 8. And the family flexes as expected. These lines here are visible. So when I load this into the project, they are going to appear because they are model lines. But in Revit, these lines have a checkbox that says whether this line needs to be visible or not. I'm going to disable that. And then I can load this into a project. Also, the size or the height of the apex is driven by the parameters. So if I tab select this point, or yeah, notice that I can create a parameter. This is the association point. I'm going to call this the height. And then the V height, I can increase this size. So if I need to increase this to 10 feet, then the height of this pyramid increases, right? And so you get it here. Now, when this is loaded into the project, I can change the vertice height, and that's going to update it to the entire trellis. And that's how we build this family. So I have that prepared for you. This is the pyramid module. I think the only difference here is that I also created a sphere. And then the sphere is placed at the very top, just so that it looks a little nicer. And so these the pipe and the sphere are hosted by the point. The point is hosted by this the point reference plane, and wherever this reference plane is, the point follows. All right, so nothing on our end to do with this. So I am just keep this file open. We're going to create a surface, and then this surface is going to be created by the extrusion of two SP lines, and that's it's like creating a free flow surface. And so in the files that I sent to you, there is a file called surface. So open that file. File open, and hit open the surface. This is a file. This is a family created using the adaptive components template. The adaptive components templates provide you with this reference plane and the two vertical center and front and back. And I created two SP lines through points. This is a special type of line. Sorry, let me zoom it here. And the way I created, you don't have to do this. I'm just going to explain how I did. I created in the floor plan. I'm going to set the word plane, the reference level. I created a SP line through points. And then all I did is pick one of the points and raise it, pick one of the points and lower it. And you create this nice organic shape. And so now I have two reference, two lines. They are parallel to each other. And I can use this to create an organic shape. So you select the model, select the first one, select the second one. You have two objects selected. You can use the control key to select both lines. And then we're going to create a form, solid form. And Revit created a surface that connects these two SP lines. I'm going to change the visual style to shaded. It's a very organic shape, as you can see. So this surface is created by the SP line profiles. And so Revit has something called here as called X-ray. When you select the surface, you can hit the tab key. When you select the surface and click the X-ray, Revit disclose what are the original lines and the original nodes. So if you think this is too much, you can click on this and change them. And so you have this sort of like flexible arc that you can increase or decrease the shape of it. And I'm just, again, you select the surface, tab selected, X-ray, and then they'll give you access to the nodes, and you can raise them up or move them in XYZ to modify the how this shape look like. So I just move it a tiny bit so that it is not too dramatic, and it's more like a little smooth. And then I disable the X-ray. So again, you select the tab, select the surface, and disable X-ray. Now I have a nice smooth surface. Any question here? You want me to repeat anything? This surface, the next step is this surface can be subdivided by a grid. And in this family environment, we can select what is the UV ratio. You can do it by units. You can say divide this by 7 and 8 units, Or you can do it by distance. You can subdivide it in a grid that is 10 by 10. And then there's going to be some residual, right? When you use even numbers and subdivide the surface, then there's going to be a residual number, a residual panel, and you have to define where that residual is going to be. So when we divide this by distances, Revit is going to say this is 10, 10, 10, 10. And then there's going to be a residual here. And this residual tree can, this residual panel can, you can decide to put it at the end or at the front or even. So let's, and I see your comment here, David. Effect of trees and shade for guest comfort. Okay, we can do that. We can do that after we finish this exercise. Okay, so we select, if you have this surface, select it, hover over tab key, allow you to select the surface. So the surface, we can overlay on the surface a divided surface. Divided surface, it's a new surface that split the surface in a U and V value. In Revit or in the geometry, you know, we have the subdivision of a surface are called U and V. They are not called X and Y. And U is in one direction, and V is in another direction. In this example, V equals 4, and in this example, U equals 3. So you select the surface, you divide the surface, and here it is. Now look at the size of the grid. It says on the U direction is 12 modules. In the V direction is 12 modules. You can change that. You can make it fixed distance, and instead it reports distance. Well, let's stick with fixed number. And I'm going to decrease the size. I'm going to make it around 8 by 8. So I have larger modules. Now, each of these subdivisions is going to host the pyramid layout. And when I sort of measure this is about 4 feet by 3 feet. That's okay, I think. You can also make it a little smaller if you want larger modules. So subdivision, it's a property of, it allow me to divide a surface in a UMV grid. Now, when you select the divided surface on the screen, you'll see that the surface representation has a drop-down panel for options. So this little arrow, small little arrow that appears on the right side here, after you select the divided surface, allow me to display nodes. And when I do that, notice that in every UV intersection, there is a new point. And that's the point that I want to use to to be able to host the the component. And so all I need to do now is to uh, bring the pyramid module, snap it to one of these components, and then activate the array. And the array command is automatically going to place a copy of that component in the entire surface. And so let's do that. I have open in another view, the pyramid. I'm going to load it into the project. And now that it's in this project, select the divided surface. And then where it says patterns here, where it says properties, you see how it says no patterns. Scroll down and find the pyramid module. And when you do that, the module is going to be arrayed on every UV subdivision module. It's going to take a few seconds to regenerate because each of them needs to be created individually. And this is basically creating a pattern using an adaptive component family. If the underlying surface is a little too dramatic, that prevents certain modules from being created, Revit is gonna report it. It's gonna say this cannot be geometrically, is impossible to create. So there may be instances where the module fails because there are too many sharp changes in the geometry. But I don't think this surface is very dramatic as far as sharp angles. So I think it's going to work. Going to give it some time to refresh. It will take like a minute or so. And then I guess I just have to wait to finish process. This is a very intensive operation. It's equal like printing. It pulls a lot of virtual memory. And here we go. So notice how the trellis got the spheres inverted, and I think that is because the value that I have for the apex, it's negative. So I can override that. I can access the family properties, which is the pattern based no the adaptive component under generic models, the pyramid module. If I double click on the type, I can invert the value and say instead of being 5 feet, make it 3 feet or 4 feet. And now the apex is going to move from the negative side to the positive side. It has to recreate, it needs to recreate all the pyramids again. So that's going to take, again, the same time it took before to make the change. Now, the beauty here is that these pyramid structure is hosted by a surface that it's conditioned by those SP-Lime nodes, right? So you can go back and edit those SP-lines. You can pull and push the points to adjust the surface. and Revit will recreate the surface, and I recreating the surface, reposition the adaptive points, and refresh the structure so everything is connected. Uh, Again, this is the more items we have in the host element, the more it takes to process. And so I didn't want to go overboard in the number of items. All right, so this is looking a little better. Looks a little funny. Maybe the sphere could be a little smaller. I can do that in the sphere family. But this is how adaptive component works. It's just a single family that it's acts as a rubber band nested by the snapping point of the UV, creating intersections in a surface. And I'll bring into this class so that you get a sense of the extent of the power that Revit can have for an advanced user. Um, any question here? Did it work on your end? Um, it's uh, adaptive component is very used for structural purposes in um, to rationalize some of the structures or curved structures by, I don't know, these feature architects create these crazy facades, right? And they need to be rationalized with some kind of the structural supports. So this is a way to rationalize that. Uh, all right, let me know if you want me to repeat anything or if it didn't work on your end. Happy to go back and redo. Um, when I save this file, it's going to be like a trellis. I have another example that it's very similar to this. Uh, and let me show it. Let me show the components of it. So in the files that I shared with you, there is a file called 4-point module. 4-point module. So this is same. It's an adaptive component that has circular um, a circular sweep, and then it has embedded a family that define the curves of this opening. And so this family you can deform it any way you want, and the opening also deform with it. And so I can bring this family inside an adaptive component surface and array it in the UV grid subdivision, and I can create like a nice feature exterior piece of art or exterior facade. We can do that very quickly. So this is not gonna. What takes time is to build this from scratch. So I'm not gonna put you to build this from scratch. It's a long, tedious process. This is made of. Uh, it's basically three extrusion, four families in every corner. In other words, Uh, every like this is a family. So I have 4 families here connected to adaptive points. These adaptive points are connected by lines that are offset by a certain distance from the original ones. And it's some kind of, I think it's a Bezier type of line. Um, but there's a whole tutorial on how to do this from scratch in YouTube. Uh, but I have it ready for you here so we can use it. Remember, this is the 4-point module. So I'm going to create I'm going to create the wall, and then I'm going to extrude it, and then I'm going to bring the module and array it on top of it. So I'm going to create a new family family of the generic model adaptive. And every time you use adaptive points, you use the generic model adaptive. In the draw tools, in the create tools of this blank project, I'm going to create a SP line through points. And you can create like a soft S-shaped wall. And you can extrude it, create form, extrude it. And then you can select the upper edge and raise it high. In fact, now that this is high up, you can add additional deformation if you want to. You can X-ray it, and when you X-ray it, you have access to the points. Again, you don't want to make too extreme conditions, because if the corners are too sharp, then the opening inside that family won't be able to be created, and it may fail. So I'm just making this, a minor adjustment here. Maybe I pull this in this direction a little bit. Yeah, and I have an organic shape. Then I disable the X-ray. I select the surface. You can tab select to select to, and then I create a subdivided surface. Right, the default it's 12 by 12. I'm going to reduce this to 8 by 8. It's in the instance parameters. And just like we did last time, you select this. You can change the U-grid subdivision here, 8 in the number of elements in the U direction, and 8 in the number of elements in the V direction. And with the divided surface selected, you can click on the surface representation properties and display the nodes. The nodes are important because they are going to host this module. And so what I need to do is to load the family, the 4-point module, snap it to one of these modules, and then array it. So I go insert, load family, and from the download folder that I shared with you today, open the 4-point module. The 4-point module is going to be visible under the generic models family tree in the project browser. Here's the 4-point module. This is the family, this is the type, So I'm going to bring the type into the project. Just drag it, and then a snap to 4 points in the same sequence. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have what changes to shaded. That looks better. And then once I have that, I select the module and Revit inside the family editor that has a command that is called array on surface, which basically copy these adaptive components and place it in every square of the UV subdivision. Select this and array, and this is going to copy this family in every UV subdivision. Again, this is a heavy intense operation. Um, and it's just prove the point that you can create, this type of advanced facade. Like this could be a special feature, a family, like, I don't know, in a playground or a piece of art. I don't know, or the facade of a building.
Hey, Caesar, can you repeat after insert the family? You know.
So you load the family, right?
Yes.
The family will be available to you under the generic model, 4-point module, and then you select the type. And question, do you have the snap point visible? Which are
Yeah,
these?
the node.
Okay, excellent,
But I
perfect.
cannot see that project browser, the family too.
You don't see the 4-point module family
I mean that
or the
that
entire,
yeah, entire that things.
or the Prey browser, it's you bring it back using the right click, browser, Prey browser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then search into the families
Hmm.
for the 4-point module type, and then grab the type, not the family, grab the type and into the project. Revit is going to ask for 4 snapping points and pick them in the right order, right? You don't want to pick it in diagonal. You can do it clockwise or counterclockwise. Um, and you can pick any module here. So this is my first point. The snapping automatically goes to the UV grid intersection. And after you put the last point, click escape to cancel. We have one element nested in the grid. Escape to cancel. And then now to array this component in the entire UV grid, you select the component and you activate the repeat command. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And repeat will, and then this is all parametric. You can go back and select the subdivision, increase the subdivision, and then the modules will be recreated. You can increase the size of the UV, and then they will be recreated. You can change the surface shape by accessing the SP-line nodes in a transparent, and you can change it. How you do this? I'm going to do a crossing selection, select everything and filter. I need to access the divided surface. And with the divided surface, I can change these. I'm instead of 8 by 8, I want them 8 by 4. So it's going to be long rectangles. This is changing this UV subdivision. It's changing the number of modules, and it's recreating the grid and the module distribution. And let's say I want to change the surface. The easy way to do this, I do a crossing selection from right to left, crossing selection. And then in the filter, I select I think it's the divided surface. No, the generic model. No, I do a crossing selection. I filter it. I select the divided surface. Um, and then when you click the options, the divided surface options, which is this arrow pointing down, you can select display the original surface. There you go. I'm going to select again all the elements, filter, uh, select the divided surface. Then I'm going to hover over and hit tab, form element. That's what I want. I apply X-ray, and this gives me access to, and I switch this to wireframe. And you can see the nodes inside the surface. I can push pull them, and I'm changing the surface, which is going to change the divided surface, which is going to change the distribution of the modules. But every time I make this change, the Revit has to recreate everything, so it takes time. Here's another module, another node. Those are the purple nodes there. Tab, tab. Here's the node. I'm going to increase it in height, and this is going to deform it. I see your question, David. If I want to make it a wall thickness, 8 inches, how do I? Were you thinking like repeating the profile, or just giving a thickness to the panel? Yeah, if it's changing the thickness of the panel, the is that what you were thinking of?
Yeah, I guess that would probably be the easiest way. Yeah, I was thinking, does it need to be a double panel? But probably it would just change the thickness, right? That's just obvious, right?
Yeah, and I think the this module, let's see. Oh, I can access the parameters here. Yeah, so you see these are the parameters inside the panel. And there's a T that I think is thickness, the radius, yeah. So if I want this to be very thick, right now I think it's 2 inches. Let's say we change it to 8 inches or 6 inches, 0.6. And hit apply. Let's see what happens. This is going to recreate the module and gonna change it to all of it. These are the type properties of the panel. There you go. You see how it's thicker. You can make it 8 inches to make it more like a wall. But the frame is falling a little behind. You see the frame. It's like embedded in the panel, so it's not visible anymore. So I need to go back and change the diameter of that frame, which are pipes, I think. Um, but yeah, this is parametric. This is all parametric. Okay. They work for you guys? Any question?
That's impressive, yeah.
Yeah, this is advanced Revit. This is super parametric modeling, and I think the ability to unitize it proves very powerful when you try to rationalize, in particular, very organic conditions that architects love to do, particular feature architects. I don't know if you're familiar with the NVIDIA headquarters here in Silicon Valley. It's a project that I got to work when I was working with Gensler. NVIDIA headquarters. And so this roof here, which is like a triangulated mesh, was modeled exactly with the same technique I'm showing you. It is adaptive components that has embedded the profiles of all the different structural supports, and it was the only way we can make it work. I mean, the alternate will be because each of these is a different size. You have a different orientation, have a different area, but the way we make it work in Revit is by making this rectangle adaptive components with all the embedded structure, and you can create it and schedule it. It's a beautiful building inside as well. And the landscape is also really nice. Okay, so let's see. It's 6:40. We can jump into Forma and then break after that, or we can have a break and then after the break we can do Forma. Any preference? Should we continue? You don't need a break? Um, Let me know. What's your preferences?
I prefer a break, but I can follow the team. Yeah.
All right, let's have a break. It's 6:40. Let's be back at 7, and at 7, let's talk a little bit about Forma. I don't think it's going to be a huge discussion, so we're still gonna end up earlier. So, okay. Close your Revit file. If you want to save this, save it as a, I don't know, parametric wall. And then after break, we start with Forma. Just you can check it if you have access to Forma. If you Google Autodesk Forma, the very first link that you access. In fact, let me copy this here in the chat panel. You can access the Forma Hub, and you can use the credentials that we secure earlier in the class, and this give you access to Forma. So I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll see you guys at 7 p.m. All right. All right, guys. It's it's 7 o'clock, so let's work quickly with some refresh our concept on forma. Uh, I think David is interested in the microclimate analysis, and yeah, we can do that. I can also show you some of the extensions in forma that I didn't have a chance to show you, but there are that are related to how we lay out elements in forma more efficiently. We can go over the um, extension, the shadow analysis extension, the new tree extension, which make better trees. I think last time when I demonstrate this to you, the trees provided out of the box are this not so looking, not so good looking uh, geometrical, very simple geometrical extrusions. But one of our clients, third-party developers, uh, put a third-party extension for better trees, and so I'll show you that. I also show you a bit about the parking layout again. There's a Dynamo extension for Forma as well. That requires us to understand what Dynamo is. I'm sure I can demonstrate it in just a few minutes, but see what I can do on Forma with the time we have. All right, so let me share my screen here. If you activated your educational account in Forma back when we used it about a month ago, you should still have access to the Forma Hub. I put in the meeting chat a link to where you can access your Forma Hub, and we can just click on it. It will take you to your Autodesk account, your account email and password associated with the educational account. And if you activate this correctly, you should have like a year of use of Forma. I have few projects here. During the break, I was looking for a place in LA that we can create a new project. I was reading on the news about the Beverly Hills Mountain, which is this plot of land north of Beverly Hills that remain undeveloped, and it has a very nice history. I think it's worth $1 billion nowadays, I think, but it was sold for $100,000 about the last year, I think, and it was originally bought by the Prince of Iran, I think. Um, anyway, there's a whole Wikipedia study of what this site is, but it's fairly open. It's undeveloped, has some tree lines. It's interesting. So let's create a project there. The address is 1652 Tower Grade, Beverly Hills. I'm gonna copy paste it in the chat panel. Um, and we can create a new project from scratch using that address. So when you access your project hub, you select what hub you're going to host this project. Depending on where if your hub is in United States, the units are going to come fit in inches. If they are outside of the United States, like in Europe or in Australia, they will come in metrics. I'm going to create one on my demo hub here. And I'm going to create a new project. And you can just copy paste the address that I put on the chat panel. 1652 Tower Grove Drive, Beverly Hills. So Forma creates a site that it's about no, 3,000 feet in one direction and the other direction as well. You can increase in and out. I think that's not the right thing. I think it might be this one. This is the end of a road. If you want to look at the USGS terrain data, you can just click the icon in the lower right side. Yeah, and so that gives you the road, but you just follow and you're gonna find that development right here. I think that's the entire site. You can confirm the map area. What Forma does is that look for available terrain data for this site. USGBC is mostly available in the USA. And then it's going to crop the terrain geometry to the appropriate site, bring it into a proposal, and then from here we can start creating a site boundary. We can drop some buildings and add additional metadata. I'm not going to find a lot of buildings here, so I'm not going to bring additional database. But if this was in an urban site, you can bring additional metadata using this order data, right? City model, terrain, roads, property lines. This is an undeveloped area, so my hunch is that nothing's gonna come with existing buildings. So I'm not gonna bring any database. I'm gonna stay with what I have here. I could do the property boundaries. I don't know if it may work. Last time I heard, it was, I think it is available, but it won't export to DWBG. I think there are some restrictions on the terms in which we can use the boundary sets. But I ordered it. I just hit here free. When you order metadata from Forma, it will add it into the library. And then from the library, you can place it in the project, place in Canvas. And here are you confirm it. And now I have that piece of land, which is a beautiful plot. It's like right at the top of a hill. Looks like it's made of 4 different plots. And then from here, I think you can enable the 3D, the terrain view. So in the icon that looks like an eye, just check the satellite image. And that is supposed to switch it to satellite image, but I'm not seeing it. Well, here
Just took a second for me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. But this terrain, I think it's 1 meter resolution contours. You can send them to Revit from here. I think we looked at that last time by creating a new proposal and then send the proposal to Revit. Here it's sent to Revit. But you guys are interested in the some of the shadow microanalysis. Let's talk first on the parking side. So the parking extension, wasn't developed by Autodesk. It was developed by a company called TestFit. and you can access it via the marketplace. You have to agree to the terms and conditions, and then everything that is an extension will have this icon here. See, like three different boxes. So this is the marketplace of extensions, and this is how you access the extension. You can also access it from this bar as well. So we're gonna bring a couple of extensions here. So when you hit the extensions, we're gonna add an extension, and let's bring. These are fairly new. You can add the Dynamo player. The embodied carbon was released a few weeks ago. It's on social media. It was developed in conjunction with Stantec and EHDD. Pretty good, actually. Um, Symmetry developed this one, which is the outdoor area. You guys might be interested about this. This is an extension that assess the site limit and estimate if the available outdoor area comply with the area targets, sun targets, noise and terrain, steepness targets. I have not used it, but there's documentation and ideas here if you're interested. The one that I wanna, there's a Rhino plugin as well. You can create your design in Rhino and then bring it from Rhino into Dynamo. In particular, doing a schematic design for landscape architecture. If you are a Rhino user and it's easier for you to model things there, you can plug it from Rhino into format. But I want you to add the test fit parking. So hit the add button here. You have to agree with the terms and conditions. And that will add it to the library of extensions in the project. The other one I wanted to show you is this one called Thicket. It's fairly new as well. It was developed by this company called Touchgrass Industries. These take care of a better vegetation. So I'm going to add it as well, because I know you care about that. And then hit agree. And then the other one I'm going to use, because I know you mentioned things about shadows, shadow studies. So there is a shadow study extension from out of the box. You can add it as well. The Rhino plugin, I highly recommend it. If you are a schematic designer in Rhino, moving things from Rhino into Forma, it's a breeze. Okay, so I added those three extensions: Thicket, Test Fit, and Shadow Study. All right, so let's do the first one, the parking study. So it's easier to do this in 2D in a plan view. So I switched to a orthographic view. This is actually working in 2D in a flat environment. And let's say I'm going to create a parking lot here on the right side. And so I need to activate the test fit parking area. So in the bar, in the vertical menu, you see that there's an extension called text fit. Just click on it. And then at the bottom it says discover. You have to activate the extension in the panel. These are all the parameters for that. And then you create the parking layout only by clicking by activating the freeform. You can also do it via rectangle. If a rectangle is more suitable to you, you can do a circle, or you can trace existing shapes. But let's say here, I'm just going to do it using the freeform tool. So again, test fit. This activate the freeform one. Look at the this is a good tip. You can hold shift to draw a line along a guideline. So I'm going to do it from here to here to here to here, assuming that this is somehow the available area. And then to finalize, you hit enter. Enter key. And these parking can be reconfigured because this is responding to the rules you have in test fit. These are the different parameters. Primary access. This is just change different layouts. And this is automatic. Is the orientation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can explore the one that you think is the best. I think the orientation 0 is a pretty good one. The typical style width and depth, 910 by 19.8. This needs to be validated by the county and city standards. Minimal drive aisle. I hate this. This was created in meters, and then when it's converted into feet, it brings this extra additional residual. So you can make it even. It's 26. The turning radius maybe it's 18. The stall depth is probably 19.8, and the stall width is 9. Sometimes you can go, I don't know, 9. I think 10 is another one. 9, 10.
So Caesar, so where is the planting buffers? Is that the it doesn't seem like there's an option for that, unless I'm missing it.
Yeah,
They all seem to be about, yeah.
Yeah, you can disable maximum run, right? And that will remove some of the aisles. Oh, the planting.
Yeah.
And then the maximum run count is what drives that. So if I want to have the planting, you can say put a planter every 10 cars. So, if you start counting here, every 10 cars, then there's a planter.
Right.
Every 10 cars, a planter. And then this is the size of those planters. So if I change this to 5, they're smaller, you see. You can say, okay, every 20. I don't know what the rule is, or if there, but you can change these two parameters to condition the planter parameters. That makes sense? And so,
yeah, it does. Yeah. It's called maximum run stall count. I mean, maximum run gap width, right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay. It's not obvious, but that's good. Thank you.
Yeah. This happens when you give this to programmers who don't understand the lingo in the
Right,
trade.
right.
All right, so I'm going to put every 10 or every 8, and then to change the layout, you change the primary axis of orientation. Right? These give you different configuration layout. The 0 looks okay. So
Excuse me, what is the one to change it? I was kind of the orientation.
The primary axis
Oh,
for orientation.
Oh, okay, all right.
And these are generative solutions. I think it's from 0 to 10. It gives you up to 10 different layouts.
Wow, that's great.
And then the count of the parking, it's is not being generated here. I think because the oh, is it here in the area metrics? You go into parking, and then it tell you the number of spots, area, and area per spot. And so you can always go back and double check which of the different variations give you the or maximize the spots. Like that is 133. It takes 127. And you can play with some configuration here. So if you need to export this for other software, you can go to the navigator and then hit the export tool. And so this proposal, along with the geometry and the oh, you didn't.
I missed the button. Which button? So, right.
So in the proposal, there are 3 little dots here. And then there's an export tool.
Okay. Found it.
And it will be available, I think, as an OBJ, I think. So let's see. Download tower, here is. Yeah, it's an OBJ. OBJ is a format that can be brought into AutoCAD or into Revit as well. It's a mesh, so I don't think you may be able, you won't be able to like grab the individual stalls for additional manipulation, but you can use it as an external, as a reference to recreate the.
So it's not line work then? It's just, you said a mesh? Is that what I didn't quite?
Yeah, OBJ is a 3-dimensional format that brings geometry and texture. It's very used by animators. It can be read in 3D Max. I think AutoCAD too. Let me ask God.
They can also go to Rhino then too, right?
OBJ definitely goes into Rhino.
Yeah.
Into AutoCAD, I think it does. Oh no, AutoCAD cannot read OBJ, but you can use 3ds Max to create a DWG from the OBJ. That's not good. And let's say Rhino, OBJ into Rhino. I think OBJ, yeah, a Rhino can read it directly. The good thing about OBJ is that it brings the texture, so the texture map of the 3D geometry will be there. Now, the other thing, you can print a PDF, and just like I said before, PDFs are readable in AutoCAD.
Right.
And they are snappable. The vectors are snappable.
Yep.
So you can do that as well. A PDF can also be exploited in in what's the name of the software? The Illustrator.
Yeah.
In Illustrator, you have access to the vectors as well.
Yeah,
And from Illustrator, you can also export it as DWG, I think.
so how do you export it into a PDF? Maybe just want to show that. Is that
I think it's just print
print?
print from the browser.
Oh,
let me close. I need to close these. Minimize the panels. You can minimize the panel by clicking at the center of it, and then you go print.
just type in print.
It's in the browser. I'm using Chrome. It might be different for different, but in Chrome, you click these three little buttons at the far right end, and then hit print.
Oh,
If you're using another browser, it might be a little different, but search for the print command in your browser. Which browser do you use?
I'm in Google.
Okay, so do you see these three buttons?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So then here's the print command,
Okay.
and here it's the layout landscape, probably better, and then
I'm gonna do a
save.
little test here.
Um, okay, let's talk about the microclimates. The microclimate tool. The let's talk about the trees. And so just to show you, the out of the box tree lines are very dull. I'm creating a line of trees here. It's hits enter. That's the out of the box trees. Looks not so good, right? And so this tree has a height of 15, and the spacing is 15 feet apart. There's a better way to do this now using the extension thicket. So if you click the extension tool and hit thicket, you can create either an area of trees or a line of trees. I can say create a new line. And it tells you what's the spacing. This is 1 meter between canopies or between trunks. 1 meter between canopies might be fine, or you can do it between trunks. For some reason, it's just in meters, even though the project is in feet and inches. That's a limitation of the developer, but you can do the math, right? And then you can add, you can place, you can add a new trees, add trees. This is the tree definition. So there are different type of trees. There's the globular. You have the avoided, pine, vase, weeping. All of these are, by the way, schematic ways of representing trees. So they are not photorealistic. They don't expect them to be connected to a specific tree type, but it is much better than the one we offer out of the box. And so these are the heights and the spacing parameters, the color as well. And then when you hit place, you have to create a line of trees. And you see that the placing trees activates. And when I say create a one from here to here, hit the space bar. And these trees look much nicer than that. There are different shapes. you can, let's try the pine, for example. And then you hit replace. There you go, these are the pines. The ovoids, replace. They're not too bad. But I like the globular are the nicest, I think. Place. I'm gonna create another row, like from here to here. Place from here. Enter. We just always enter to finalize things. I did a single tree here. You can change the size of the trees. Right now the height is 6 meters, or you can do it, I don't know, 20 feet. And then replace. Every time you make changes, you have to replace it. So a nice extension to work with, to be honest, particularly on your end. If you model in, if you want to measure the impact of existing trees, you need to have information about those trees, and you can place it one by one, or you can create a row of proposed trees and understand the impact in microclimate, which is the next topic. So for microclimates, I need to have some kind of a building inside. So let's say I'm going to create a very simple line building in the quick access bar. Hit the line building. The line building comes with these predefined parameters. It's a building that it's 40 feet in wide, it has 4 levels. The distance between the levels is 10 feet. It's split by residential types. And we can create something super simple here. From here, this is more like a U shape. Now these line buildings, which are basically just used for feasibility studies, you can change the parameters. It could be 30 feet. You can make it 6 feet in high. Make this 40. And the distance between the floors, you can increase it to 12 feet or 10. So the buildings parametrically react to changes. Super fast. All right, let's say this is the conceptual design. You added some trees. Now we can run a microanalysis. The microsite analysis, it's the tool that looks like a temperature. And this is going to, you have 2 ways to evaluate this. You can evaluate a custom circle. The custom circle is the center of the space, is a radius of 492. You can increase the size or decrease the size. Or you can do it by the site boundary. I haven't created the site boundary. The site boundary is what is the property limits that the proposal is going to be limited by. If I do that, then the site limit will be listed in here in the analysis area. I can do it very quickly. Like the site will be from here to here. Like this is the development area. Spacebar. So that thing you see in this is the site area. And when I do the analysis or the microclimate analysis, You can do it by custom circle or by the side limit. You have two choices now. You want to restrict an access to the boundaries of the construction area, or you want to use a custom circle. I like to see the custom circles because allow me to pick up on the context. You can reposition the circle as you see fit. And once you run this, once you place the area, then you run the analysis. And the analysis will take seconds. It's using artificial intelligence to make predictions on what the temperature is for a specific time period and a specific time. It's super quick. It just takes less than a minute. And it says the wind analysis failed because so the microanalysis is a combination of sunlight, wind, and others. It looks like the algorithm failed for the wind part, but let's see the analysis results. And let's switch the view to that's plan view. I'm gonna switch to the map view because the aerial photo is a little distracting. And this is that time of the year. This is January at 10 in the morning. This is the average temperature in the air, and this is the probability to have that temperature at that time. And so this is like historically for this time of the year at this site, the temperature has varied between 45 and 74, and this is the statistical distribution of what's the probability for the air temperature to be at that temperature. This used the wind rapid quick analysis. Usually you would see the impact of the wind, but it didn't work here. And this is the Thermal comfort. So this is what is this is the Thermal comfort index, UTCI. There's, if you click the question mark, it explains what UTCI is. Is how the human experience atmospheric conditions. And if you click H, it will give you a whole scientific explanation of what is it, how it works. Again, this is industry standards. This is how we do it. And so the color coding on the site is the temperature, the predicted temperature. And you can interrogate the site by clicking the inspect button. So notice that under the shadow is 63 at that time of the day, and it's 76 outside the shadow. You were interested about the trees, and so the impact of the trees is also considered here.
Right.
63, 61. You want to change the time of the day. This is 10 in the morning. Let's do this at 3 p.m. And interrogated 66, 67, 68. You want to change the month, do it now in the summer. We change the day to June. Look at the different colors now. 94, 83, 94, 95. And so it gives you the confidence of validating your design strategies under consideration very quickly without bringing a sustainability specialist or energy analysis to an analytical specialist to do that.
I mean, it's very impressive. I don't know what the other team members think here, but I think this is something we could use for our project for sure. And that parking one too.
Definitely.
Yeah, we were super impressed.
Yeah. I think for me, when I used this the first time, is how easy it is,
Yeah.
and how
So-
easy it is to interpret the results as well. Like, um, uh, if this is a screenshot, for example, that you want to save for your booklet, I don't know, your design
Yeah.
presentation, you can download it. How do you download it?
You just do the print again, or
No, share. No, there's a way to download this analysis as a 4K image. Oh, here is the little camera here. You can do a 4K screen capture, which include the panels, or a 4K screen with graphics. You can also save the camera to return to the same place in case you want to run a different analysis. So if I save this camera position, now it's listed with the name. This is the camera one, I'm going to call it. And then the same camera can be used in another analysis. And then you can have side-by-side comparison on the different analysis run by this. Or you can download it as a PNG. PNG is the best quality in my opinion. And here is the image. You can bring it into to your design booklet or design presentation. The like the architectural, this is a line building created in Forma, but you can bring DXF, DWGs, or if the designer is working in Rhino and you have the Rhino files, you can bring the Rhino directly here. Again, this is schematic design. Let's remember that. So the simple the geometry, the better it is. So just need to convey the outermost envelope idea. Forma does not give you any analysis inside the buildings. It's just from the very outside.
Caesar,
And
can you import your design into here somehow instead of having to do it?
no, you can do it in the library. So I'm going to exit this analysis. You just click the arrow on the left side and say, I want to bring something from what was done in Rhino or in DWG, I don't know. You go to the library and you say import. Import what? You can bring OBJs. IFCs would be what you would use for Revit. Like Revit can export things in IFCs. So you can bring an IFC here. Your AutoCAD layout in 2D, you can save it as DXF.
Okay.
And then bring it here.
Yep.
And then you can bring other raster images that you don't have access via the marketplace. So yes, the answer is yes. You can bring other IFCs and OBJs. IFCs you can import. You can save from Revit to IFCs. I think from AutoCAD you can also export to IFCs. Let's see, export DWG to IFCs. I think there's an IFC export functionality, and I haven't used in a long time.
Our end result has to be IFC.
Yeah. Revit can do, but AutoCAD, I'm not sure. Do not support it. This is in 2023. Oh, that's odd. I saw it would. Oh, if you have AutoCAD architecture,
Yeah, we
it
do.
will. or
Yeah, we have.
AutoCAD Civil 3D.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, and then you can bring it into Forma. Okay, so it's possible to do it that way. You can
But we
also,
can also use we can also use DXFs, which that'll work fine too.
well, that would be just two-dimensional. That would be
Oh,
2D.
okay,
That's if you want to like, just display like the conceptual areas, and then you can bring the volumes in Forma. You can do it that way.
okay.
We are working hard on expanding this variety, in particular, direct DWGs and direct Revit files. The other thing I want to show you, I know I'm running out of time, but it's the last extension is the sun studies.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm going to add an extension, and you can browse into the shadow study. You can add it and agree. Once the installation is completed, you see this little green button there. And then I go to the analysis here, and you see shadow study. And so you select the range of dates or a date. It says this is June 15 from 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening. And you decide the frequency. You say instead of 20 hours, let's do all the way to 4 p.m. And you can say every 15 minutes. And what this is going to do, it's export shadow study for every frame. When you export the images, you get all the images, and you can stitch them using video editor. You can also preview here. And then this is the type of, or you can preview and record your screen. It will be almost the same thing. I think the smallest increment is 5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes is okay, right? So you can preview it. This is 5 minutes through the day on that day. Then you can switch to a different date. It doesn't do the range. It only have daily, single day shadow studies, but it wouldn't do like weeks, or month. And once you finalize the study, then you can export the images. It's gonna give you all the frames, and then you can stitch them using another thing. Yeah,
That's great.
very smart. This is the future of the software. We're putting a lot of development effort here to make it easier to the users. I think I like Forma a lot. Okay. Anything else, David, you want to know?
Why don't we? I think you offered to do Dynamo too, just to kind of go over that a little bit.
In Forma?
Yeah. Well, I guess in Revit too, but in Forma, yeah.
Yeah. So Dynamo is like Grasshopper. It's a computational visual
Scripts.
engine that allow you to build scripts and do routines that you cannot build out of the box. So it's a sequence of actions that are triggered by an input, and that generates some kind of output. And the output can be either geometrical expressions or data combinations or interoperability workflows. And rather than showing you, well, here's how you activate. You go to the extension. This is the Dynamo Player extension. You add it,
Added it.
and then you agree to the terms and conditions. And so the extension will be available. Here's here, Dynamo Player. Now, Dynamo Player, it's the UI that allow you to run a script, and then Dynamo needs to be running in the background in order to bring the script. I created this video about a few months ago. Yeah, here's. This is this show you how a task, how we can. This is San Francisco, and this is a site that needs to be infilled via. It was burned in 2020. This Pier 30, I think. So what this is showing you is that I have a Dynamo script running in Revit. The Dynamo script generates a geometry inside the Revit environment, and the Dynamo player inside Forma retrieves the Dynamo script and run it inside the Forma environment, and then the analysis analyze the results of the Dynamo script. And so, in a way, the way this is feeding is that this is going into Revit, this is going into Forma, and then once the Forma is finalized, it goes to the analysis. And so here are, you can compare all the different analyses, right? I can share the link of this video. This is it's a very new development. So it acts as a link between Forma and Revit objects. The difficult part here is to create a script. So the script needs to be, the Dynamo script needs to be created in Revit. You can use Dynamo Sandbox, or you can use Dynamo for Revit, or Dynamo for Civil 3D. And that's install nodes from the Dynamo Forma beta, which allow you to connect Dynamo objects to Forma objects. And so you define the inputs, you define the outputs, and the inputs and outputs travel into the Dynamo player, which make it easy to consume for users. The extension is added, and you load the script from your computer. This gives you access to the inputs, and all you need to do is start playing with it. So every time I hit the run command, it gives a different value to the geometry. And so as you can see, I'm just running the script in Forma, and then the Forma is moving it into Dynamo, and then from Dynamo it's traveling into Revit. And the idea here is not so much that we can do it in Forma, is so that we can do the analysis. And so the analysis is what shapes and drives the form, right? And once the analysis validate the form, then it can stay in Revit. So, um,
Impressive. Yeah.
yeah. Learning Dynamo, it's not difficult. It does require you to have this uh, algorithmic way of thinking. It's like building
Right.
recipes, you know? And now that we have the Rhino extension, you can do the same using the Rhino environment. In Rhino, you can use Grasshopper, right? So via you start Grasshopper, Rhino, and then from Rhino to Forma, and then validate your conceptual design in Forma, tweak your Rhino model based on the inputs received in Forma.
So that's good. That's good to know, because I mean we have people that are pretty savvy in Grasshopper, so we can use that as a workflow and then to bring it
Right.
into Forma then, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like Dynamo for Revit can be brought into Forma, so we have a couple options then, right?
Right. Here's
What was the
an
what was the third one? You had I think you had another way of doing it too. Um, I didn't quite get that, but maybe it's not that important. But
to do what?
there was another method to go from Revit into. I thought I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
quite
yeah. This is the extension, the Revit extension.
through the Revit extent. Okay.
Yeah. So in here, in a proposal, you can send a proposal to Revit,
Right.
and this send it to a cloud repository. And then in Revit, I create a brand new project. The download the extension for Forma. It's available in the marketplace. So Autodesk, hey, Autodesk marketplace, our app store. And in the app store, you can look for the Revit, Forma Revit extension. Here is Forma add-in. You download it. I can share the link here if you're interested.
Okay. That's great.
And then once it's installed, I create a new model from the template using the default template that switch to a 3D view. When the extension is installed, it will be visible under the collab under the math and site. Yes, and you see it's load proposal. Through that meets the minimum version requirement. Yeah, I don't have the latest one, so I need to uninstall my proposal, my my plugin and replace by another one. But this should give me. Let's jump back into Forma here. I should be able to do this directly here. Revit, download Revit add-in. That's the latest one. Sorry, this is gonna take some time. I need to rerun the installer.
Mm.
And after we finish, I'll be able to move it. Let's see if it's quick enough. This is 09.3. I think I have 09.2. So the idea is here when after I send this to the cloud in Revit, I can retrieve it here, load proposal, and then it will bring everything: the site, the proposal geometry, the trees, the property lines, the side boundaries, and you can continue elevating your project in Revit. Yeah, there's a lot of documentation on how to do this in YouTube. If you're interested.
Yep.
There you go. I'm installing it. But David, if you end up doing this and you end up creating very compelling images, feel free to share it. I would love to see how you guys are able to do it in your office. So this is targeted a lot to architects, and you guys are the first landscape firm that I'm hearing that maybe expose and start using it. So it may be a first time for Autodesk to look at some of your outputs. So if you come across very nice inputs, please share them. I'd love to see them.
Yeah.
Eventually.
We'd love to, yeah.
Okay, so I don't think I was able to install this on time, but that's how it works.
Yeah. That was how.
Yeah.
It was helpful what you just showed.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it's 8 o'clock. I think this is all I have for you guys today. Hope this class was informative and that you learned Revit, and more importantly, that you're able to put this to work at your office. I am going to share by the end of the week a summary of all the classes and the recordings so that it's easy to retrieve. Because I've been sharing after the class, but I'll create a summary. They will remain as unlisted classes so that you can consume them anytime you want. And although, we're not connecting in classes anymore, I'm still your resource. So I know sometimes it's hard to get the right support at the right time. So if something is an emergency blocking your workflow and you need some support, I'm happy to give you support from time to time, right? I cannot do it on a 24/7, but I love to help out when I can.
We'll definitely take you up in that offer, but we'll be reasonable. But yeah, if we do get stuck, I think we've got some good people to kind of guide us. But maybe there's sometimes when your knowledge is so immense, and so definitely like to leverage that.
And lastly, I love to follow you guys in LinkedIn. Who knows how we connect in the future? So this is my LinkedIn. I'm going to put it in the chat panel. Please add me, or I'll search you after class. I love to follow your firm and see what you guys are up to and how we change professional path in the future. So, okay, it's been my pleasure, guys. Thanks for sticking with me all this time, and good luck with your Revit implementation plan over there. Look forward to see how you do this, how you use Forma, how you use Revit. So stay in touch, and your evenings are returned to you. All right.
We're going to miss this. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cesar.
Thank you very much.